with Ashley Artus. Thank you so much for doing this.
It's very nice to be asked, so thanks. Yeah, it's very nice of you, thank you.
You've done so many different roles in so many genres. Comedy, dramas, plays, musicals, TV, theatre, film. You do everything, don't you?
I was lucky, when I first started, I had a really good agent, and she was a film star. Patricia Marmont. Her father was a silent movie star called Percy Marmont, and she saw me at my final show at drama school, and she wrote me a letter, and she asked if I would go and see her, and I went to see her, and we got on like a house on fire, and she looked after me for a good 10 years, and she helped me do everything. So she was very, very good at saying, okay, do some comedy now, and then do a serious part, and then some Shakespeare, and then a musical, and then keep jumping from each thing, which I always wanted to do, because the whole thing fascinates me, and genre fascinates me. I love the different styles of things, and how a great piece of drama or Shakespeare is completely separate to slapstick commercial, or kitchen sink acting. Is very different to epic sort of. There's a lot of different styles and genres in work, and I always wanted to be able to look at all of it, and I still do that.
You're in Les Miserables?
Yes, that's true, yeah. Les Miserables was a big part of my life for a long time.
You did the musical, the movie, the live CD, and the TV series.
That's nice, yeah. I fell in love with it. When I was a boy, I bought the cassette. This is when we still had cassettes. And I used to listen to it non-stop. I was very young. I was about 14 or 15. And there was something about those lyrics, those words, and those characters, and that music that just it enthralled me. I was obsessed with it. It was the original London cast recording, and I Dreamed a Dream Used to Kill Me. Patti LuPone singing that, very tough and hard, and then Alan Armstrong as Thénardier. And I knew that from a young age, that was kind of what I am, what I was. But I never thought I had the singing voice. I was told at drama school, you're an actor and you can move. You're a dancer, you're an actor and a dancer. Can't sing much. And I didn't know a lot about singing. And I still can't sing, really. I mean, I can pull a song off. I can tell a story through a song. I think Cameron McIntosh was in New York, so I had a little bit longer to prepare for it, and I worked very, very hard on it. And I got it. And it was an incredible experience, because it was the new production. So Cameron wanted to, as he does with all of his work, this is why he's so brilliant, and his work continues on and on and on. He wanted to look at it from a different angle, and we had 12 weeks to rehearse it, and we reinvented it, and we looked at it again, and the brilliant, Lawrence Connor and James Powell worked with Cameron, and Claude Michel was there every day, and all the creatives were there every day, and we just re-looked at the book and started it again. It was incredible. And then he asked us to do the O2 Arena, which we did, and then the live CD, which was recorded in Manchester over a week, that was released. So I did that with it. Then I got in the movie, yeah, and then the television adaptation of it, which was not the musical, it was the book. A lot of people diss musical theatre, musicals, and the people that do that are usually the ones that can't do it. Usually, I think it was it Ian Judge who said, any fool can get up and do Shakespeare. It takes a very rare talent to pull off musical theatre. And the two things are linked in a way. That's why Trevor Nunn's so good at it. Shakespeare and musicals are almost fused together. The characters, the situations, verse, poetic language. Doing a monologue from a Shakespeare is not dissimilar to doing a song in a lot of ways.
You've done some great commercials.
I was lucky because I did a few big ones when I was young, and I learned a lot of camera technique with that. And all the commercials I was doing were story driven. So there were little mini films for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. So I was thrown into that and loved it because each commercial was different and each character was different. Some of the briefs were really interesting, like it's a French commercial, so we're looking for someone like Jacques Tati, or, you know, this is Italian, so we're looking for kind of Fellini-esque sort of actor. Or so I got to be able to jump around in different genres with the commercials, and again had brilliant management that were able to guide me with that. And I think that has still given me that love and passion for doing different things.
Again, it's acting in whatever genre.
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know what, it's a lot of different things. It's I don't think that there is not just one way to do it. That's the great thing about it. You've got to be careful. There's a lot of, you know, hocus pocus around acting, and you know, you look at someone like David Mamet, and you know, his formula is different to Uta Hagen, and Uta Hagen is different to Meisner, and then Meisner is different to Mike Leigh, and then Mike Leigh's way is different from Ken Loach's way, and then Ken Loach's way is different from Max Stafford Clark's way. So I love it all, and I use bits and pieces from everything. When I worked with Max Stafford Clark, he taught me about objectives, and I loved, that was something really new for me, that, you know, anytime a human being talks, there's a motivation behind the line. So you would take a script and look at the character, and every time he speaks, there'd be an objective, you know, and it had to be an action kind of, you know, thing. Like, so, would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea? Threatens. Tickles. Would you like a cup of tea? Tickles is the action. Stops. Would you like a cup of tea? Stops is another action. And Max made us put an objective on every single line. I think it was Ian Redford that said it's like walking through treacle. It's quite cerebral, and sometimes being cerebral can sometimes be a bit damaging to a performance. But he was very regimented in it. We had a good 3 weeks of actioning everything, and then we played it. But what it did was it gives you, it keeps you on track to where the playwright wants you to go and where the director wants you to go. But you're also playing two things on the line. So the line is when an audience listens to it, the line is very, very rich because you're playing two things. But then again, someone like David Mamet says you just learn the lines and you just don't bump into the furniture and just speak them. And that can work too. And then you can get a director who will ask you to do something that you think, that is so not right. And you do it, and you say it back, and you go, ah, yeah, they were right, actually. So I love all of it. I love being directed. I love being left alone as well. You know, when I know I need to do it that way, I will do it that way. And then oftentimes a director will say, well, if it's a film or if it's television, you know, you do it one way and then we'll shoot it that way. So you've got two. And in theatre, it's great because you get a chance to do it all over again, and maybe you'll be better on the Wednesday than you were on the Tuesday.
What's the difference?
It's difficult, that, and a lot of actors struggle with that if they're able to jump from theatre to cinema. Not a lot of actors can do that because they are very different. The only thing I can say really about the difference is in theatre, you're watched from head to toe, and in cinema it could be anywhere. Julie Walters said to me, she said, you save everything for the take. I was very, very young when I worked with her. And that, I would remember that, because for a long time I was, you know, off screen getting ready to be on screen, and by the time the cameras were rolling I was knackered. So, you know, to do your prep, make sure you're ready, but when the camera rolls, you're on. Little things that they should really teach at drama school, you know, like rest, make sure you get your rest, your voice is okay. Look at dairy products. If you've got to sing and you've got to use your voice a lot, your physicality, how do they look? And to be regimented in learning all of the lines, because once they're under your belt, you can play. And once the lines are in, you can play any way you want. And it's tennis in a way, acting, good acting. You know, you say the line, you pass the ball comes back, you bat the ball back, or you carefully pass the ball, or you throw the ball back, and then you react to that. And great actors will play tennis with each other. But you can only do that if you're secure.
Social media.
Yeah, we'll talk about social media maybe a bit later, if that's all right.
What makes a good director?
Is somebody who allows you to find it, and then allows you to breathe in it, I think. And somebody who loves it, and you can tell a lot of people that, you know, are obsessed with it and love it, and the ones that don't.
Is rejection tough?
Rejection, yeah, it can be tough. If you look at it like rejection, you know, if you think you're being rejected, you're going to feel rejected. I've got the stage now where oftentimes if I don't get something, I don't lose any sleep over it anymore. I remember I was very young. I'd auditioned for the Royal Shakespeare Company 7 times, and I didn't get it. And I was very young, and I cried for 3 days. Cried. I was like, how can they say me for 7 times and I still didn't get it? What are they looking for? Recalls, you know, to be recalled and recalled and recalled. You know, if you're going to look for something, you're going to find it. You know, if you keep getting actors in all the time, but we'll have a look at them again if we're not sure. And, you know, go on your initial gut reaction, I think. You know, I like, if I'm looking for people for things and stuff, I like, my initial reaction is usually the one that stays. It's that old story, isn't it? The recall process. It's like the woman going into the butcher's to buy a chicken, and she says, can I have a look at that chicken, please? And the butcher gives her the chicken, and she looks at it, and she puts her hand in the cavity, and she smells it, and she holds it up to the light, and she pulls its wings out, and she says, oh, I don't want that one. And the butcher says, lady, could you pass a test like that? You know, that's what it's like with a recall. It's like, well, what are you looking at? What? You know, if you keep throwing things at me, of course I'm going to fail. Do this, do that, do that. Nobody can do that. And a lot of that's masturbation. Can I say that? Yeah. A lot of it's masturbation, you know. And it's a lot of different reasons. You know, it's how you look. I hate to admit that, because I can look like anything. You know, they can wig me, they can darken me up, or lighten me down, I can build my body up. You know, I change physically a lot in what I do. And, but a lot of that comes to play. And also, you know, nowadays especially, you know, somebody said, oh, there's a director who won't see anybody if they haven't got a certain amount of Instagram followers and things, and that bothers me. You know, you can buy Instagram followers, you know, hundreds of people do that. I don't. Well, that's because I'm hardly on it anymore. You know, a person who is relaxed and has outrageous audacity, I think Michael Billington said, is a good actor. You know, they can play anything. You know, the ones that can jump through hoops. But it's also, you know, I only get jobs if I really want them. You know, if something comes along and I go, oh, I love this. There's something here that I can, you know, not always that I can identify with. Sometimes, you know, not at all. Sometimes it's a part that I don't know anything about, and that can turn me on. You know, I don't know him. I don't know this way of life. So I'll study it. I research a lot. I like to research.
Who are your favourite artists?
Oh, it's too many to mention. You know, art for me is it's everything. Art is everything. You know, it's from this camera, the way it's designed, to what I'm wearing, to architecture, to car design, to books, to cinema, which is moving pictures, theatre, which is everything. You know, cinema and theatre combines all the art forms, and that's why I love it. Costume design, lighting, script, dialogue, movement, colour or not. You know, it's storytelling is the greatest art form ever because it combines everything, and the whole world is art. You know, I think that's the only thing that separates us from the animals, isn't it? Art. Some animals do art, you know, don't they? The bowerbird, he builds that big nest, doesn't he, and puts ornaments and things in it to attract a mate. And some fish do circles and things in the sand to make a circular kind of nest or something to lure, you know, potential partners in.
You seem happy.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Happiness is the most important thing. But I'm learning now, you know, things that make me happy and things that don't. And tiny things can make me unhappy. You know, if I have too much sugar, I get depressed or I get angry or a bit jittery. If I have too much coffee, you know, I can be wired. And so, you know, I know now what keeps me balanced and happy and focused now. No chaos at all. You know, I used to thrive on chaos. What you do when you're young, don't you? It's sexy when you're young. It's really sexy to be chaotic. And I've just turned up for rehearsals, but I've been out for 3 days drinking and oh yeah, it's sexy. It's nice, you know. There's something about that rebel that we like to watch and be around, but not as you get older, you know, and not when you see so many people die. You know, we've lost so many to alcohol and drugs, and you've just got to look over the last 10 years, you know, who we've lost, let alone the people that you know personally in your family or your friends, all of them, you know. Just it's horrific. It's an epidemic now, drugs and alcohol, and you know they've got to get on top of this because it's killing everybody. And if they're not dying through the consumption of it, they're dying with the mental health aspects of it. So male suicide is the biggest cause of death in men under 50. It still is. It's not cancer. It's not, you know, it's suicide. And a lot of mental health issues are linked to heavy alcohol and heavy drug consumption. They're getting to the bones of it now, thank God. It's took long enough. But we've got to start getting these kids off marijuana and off these drugs and stuff, because you know, it starts with the odd joint and then it just goes on and on and on and on and on until eventually the person dies. And, you know, nobody wins with it. But there are ways out. You can completely come away from all that and never drink again, and never use drugs again. That there are ways out there. We've just got to make sure that the vulnerable people have access to help. If they don't know the help's there, they feel hopeless. So, you know, that's something that I'm very passionate about.
You've had a tough time, personally, in your private life.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, how do you measure, you know, a difficult time or tragedy? Or I think most people have been through certain things in their lives that they wish had not happened.
Your brother and sister died.
Yeah. I lost my brother Daniel. He committed suicide when he was 24, and this was long before we knew anything about mental health. So we didn't see it coming, and that was tough. And then my youngest sister Wendy, she found him, and she was never the same again. They were very, very close, were like twins. And it affected her deeply, and then she died in 2015, so I lost a brother and a sister. Yeah, I took it very badly, Wendy especially. I do wish I'd handled it with more grace. I do, but you just don't know, you know, when grief hits you. And for me, I've lost quite a lot now, a few people to drink and drugs as well, which it's so you know, it's so avoidable, and I'm I sponsor young men and older men to come away from drink and drugs, because it was so impactful on my life. And Wendy especially, I took it very badly. I just, you know, you don't know how you're going to react with grief, and each grief is completely different. I wish I'd handled it with more grace, and I had to say a few apologies to some people, because I could have handled it better, but I didn't know. You know, you behave the way you're behaving to either soothe yourself. You know, I drank quite heavily during that period because I was in so much pain and couldn't believe that it had happened again to the family. You know, to my mum and Heidi, my other sister, and all of it again. It was just, oh, not again, and it was so avoidable. She was only 38 when she died. However, it did wake me up. I got my act together after that. And, you know, I had to come away from certain people because the relationships were toxic. And, you know, toxic relationships, they're everywhere. And it doesn't mean to say that the person that you want to come away from, you know, is toxic. It doesn't mean to say that they're a psychopath or they're not very nice. It just means that the relationship, the dynamic's wrong. And I was surrounded by a lot of people that were drinking very heavily. I mean, I'm from Newcastle upon Tyne. It's where they drink. You know, it's an epidemic now. And most people I knew were drinking heavily, and some of them, you know, using recreational drugs. And I lost so many. You know, people died. I lost people. You know, would lose their mind. People would give up acting, lose their kids, lose their homes. And when Wendy died, I decided to get myself together. I had to move away from certain things, and decided that it's, for me, I wanted to get busy living and not busy dying. So I had to change a few things in my
You
lifestyle.
don't drink alcohol now?
Yeah, I don't drink. I'm allergic to it, so I can't drink anymore. It's the best thing I ever did. I wish I'd done it years ago, to be honest with you. And, you know, some people can drink and it's fine, but I was just worn out with it. It was wearing me out. And, you know, it's difficult. You know, if you want to numb yourself, you've been through a lot and you're in a lot of pain, you know, the first thing you do is take a drink, isn't it? Or you get addicted to something, food or shopping, or a distraction away from the grief, a distraction away from the pain. And I had to face it. And it was tough, you know. It's like, you know, any divorce, you know, whether you're walking away from a family member or whether you're walking away from a friendship or a professional relationship or an intimate relationship, you know, the parties involved can either be adult about it and part, or it becomes war, you know. And a few people that I've had to come away from declared war, and I had to dodge a lot of bullets. It was horrific. But I could have handled it better. A lot of around that time with people, I was a little bit less. Was less conscious of other people's feelings a little bit, but they were very less conscious of my feelings too. You know, instead of saying, "Oh, look, he's behaving differently," or he's angry, or he's crying a lot. You know, my thing is, especially being an actor, is, well, why? You know, not the symptom, the cause. And I was astounded, absolutely astounded at how many people had no empathy, especially around a bereavement of a family member. But, you know, I pick my battles a lot, you know, a lot more wisely now. And I'm very cautious about who I let into my life now, because those things are, you know, they're special. You know, when you start realizing that life is incredible and it's worth living, you know, life is extraordinary, and to be surrounded by people that don't have that that can be tough. That's why I love actors so much, and I love, directors and writers and costume designers, and because they have a imagination, and they have a way of seeing things that is different and magic, and having that inner child, to have that wonderment around you. So you've got to be careful, who you surround yourself around. Okay. Yeah, we talk again. So yeah, hello again. Hi.
Hello.
How is everything in Zoom land? Yeah, dear me, what would we do without Zoom? Yeah, that was really important during lockdown.
How did you find lockdown?
It was beneficial. I think, yeah, I realised that over lockdown that I wasn't as independent as I thought I was. It takes a big shock, doesn't it, before we wake up sometimes. Yeah, the shock of, okay, be independent then, don't go out, you can't meet anybody, you can't do any of that. It really made it clear to me that I do love and need people. I do. I am a lot more social than I thought I was. And these things, they are there to test us, aren't they? And we learn from it. I mean, some of the great things about lockdown was, they found fish again in Venice, in the canals, and that's the first time in 200 years that fish have been seen in the Venice Canal. So as far as the planet goes, it had a chance to recuperate and breathe again, and a lot less human interference. I think has probably saved a lot of animal species and things, which I think has been a great thing. We have to stand by that and keep with it. We mustn't forget.
You're fascinated by wildlife.
I am, yeah. Natural history. I'm a fanatic. Yeah, I always have been. All animals, wildlife, reptiles in particular. I study reptiles. It's called herpetology, and I help out with the reptile rescue. And if there's any animals that need rescuing from certain places, then I sponsor that and I help that. And yeah, all animals, and prehistoric, and paleontology I love. It sounds so, I don't know, nerdy, doesn't it? I like paleontology. Dinosaurs, I'm fascinated by all that, and the evolution of them to birds and things. So yeah, and plants, I love plants. I love gardening, I grow things. My granddad was a big gardener, and I used to watch him, and he used to grow massive begonias and sweet peas, and it was a magical time watching him.
Your grandparents raised you?
They did, yeah. I never met my real father, so yeah, I had a wonderful mother, and my father and my real father and my mother fell in love when she was training to be a nurse, and it didn't work out, and I was going to be adopted. It says everything, doesn't it? Kind of explains my pathology. I was going to be adopted, so that's probably why I became an actor, No sense of anything. No, and I was going to be adopted, and my mum changed her mind and she kept me, and she raised me on her own, and then she met my stepdad, Tony, and they had 3 more children. And so yeah, but my grandparents were a massive part of my life. I lived with them from 14 to 18, and they kind of helped me, fuel my passion, which was performance art and movement and acting, and then they got me through my A levels. I studied theatre and communication studies and art, and then they helped me get into the drama school. So they were really, really instrumental in my upbringing. My grandparents, they're not around anymore, which is a shame. I do miss them, especially my grandmother. She was amazing. And incredible that she came from a mining working class family, typical northern woman, ideas above a station. She used to laugh about Patricia Routledge in Keeping Up Appearances, Hyacinth Bouquet. She used to say, that's me, isn't it? Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, great fun, great sense of humour. Laughter is important, it's so important.
You've done a lot of comedy.
Mm. I love making people laugh. Yeah, I'm really good at it. I think it's because I was, I had very little going for me when I was growing up in comprehensive school, and I was always the one who was fooling about and clowning about, and it was a way to be accepted, really. That's where it started. And we used to play practical jokes on people and stuff, and so yeah, I love making people laugh. I think it's fantastic, and when I find a script or something that I think is good and funny, then that's wonderful. It was Oscar Wilde, wasn't it, who said, "There is nothing in bad taste ever, as long as it's funny." People get so caught up nowadays on what's politically correct and what you can say and can't say, and it's a minefield.
That brings us to social media.
Which brings us to social media. Yeah, there's not much social about social media, let's face facts. Well, yeah, I mean, it has its place. Everybody uses it for different reasons, don't they? I mean, I've got to be careful what I say here. Yeah, I was burnt a few times on social media. It's just too open. People can write what they want about you and think that they're covered because you don't know who they are. People use different names, and I mean, how other actors and singers and writers and sports people deal with it. I don't know. To get better, to come away from chaos and bad relationships and toxic relationships and damaging relationships, some people didn't like that, and they, online they could go for me and say what they want, and there's beauty in the freedom of expression, and everybody's allowed an opinion. It's just when it's, when those opinions are fueled by anger or rejection, or people who are just, pissed, people who get drunk and rage on Facebook. I've been guilty of it a long, long time ago. When I just lost my sister in 2015, I was very, very lonely, and I felt very alone. All my family were in Newcastle, and I was living in London, and those dark days when Wendy had died, all I had was Facebook or Twitter, and I thought, somehow, to get that out, cathartically get that out on social media, how I'm feeling, it is good, right? Depends what you say, of course. And you're always going to upset somebody somewhere with anything. You could crack a comedy line, and you see people like Ricky Gervais who gets a terrible time, but he turns it around. You are going to upset somebody somewhere with something. Doesn't matter what you say. You could say, well, I really like, Earl Grey tea. There's going to be somebody who'll say, well, Earl Grey tea is very bad for you. You shouldn't be doing that. So there's always going to be something. The trick is I choose not to look at it now. I mean, I have to protect myself. I fell out with a few people in London when I decided to come away from certain people, and some of them didn't like it, and someone put up a Facebook page, with me on it, Ashley Artus, the actor, and it was filled with gay porn. Somebody did that, and I still don't know what was the point of it. What was it, to shock me, shock other people? Was it to, damage my reputation? If I want to put a website up with anything, I'll do it, and I'll say, yeah, I did that, but I didn't do that. And then there was somebody who was pretending to be me on Twitter. There's like 5 accounts on Twitter with Ashley Artus. It's a very rare name, Artus, and there's an Ashley Artus lady who's American, and as far as I know, I'm the only male Ashley Artus. It's a very rare name. So, when anybody goes on Twitter and says, oh, Ashley Artus, the actor, Ashley, it's not me, so I had to get another account that's official to monitor that, and if anything is written about me that isn't true, which does happen, I can then be able to sort that with my management, so I'm covered. They don't teach you that at drama school. They don't teach you how to deal with that sort of stuff. Fanaticism, we all want our work to be loved and to be accepted and to be appreciated, but not to the detriment of you know, your character. Somebody wrote, you're an ignorant man, you never reply to your fans. What fans? I was thinking, what are they talking about? I know the Les Miserables fans are very loyal, you know. Les Mis has been going for what, 40 years, so they have their best cast people, you know. We think this person was the best ever in that part in 40 years, and because we follow Les Mis, we know. You know, you get a lot of that. And I've been at the top of the list. You know, Ashley Artus is the best Thenardier ever. And I've been at the bottom of the list as well. You know, he's not as good as so-and-so, we think this. So, yeah, I don't get mixed up in that anymore. It's not about that for me. People are allowed their opinions. I wish I was more loose. I wish, you know, if anybody, it doesn't happen a lot with me. It doesn't, you know, but if somebody does, you know, wanted to spend time with me, you know, you do think it might be easier just to, you know, do the deed, just to shut them up, you know, because if you say no or you come away from it, it can be a dog's life. Instead of it just being an amicable, okay, you know, it's just not that into you. Instead of it, you know, it should be just that. But for people to react, you know, he's just not into you. Right, well, let's get him. We'll get him on social media. We'll take this and we'll get him. You know, that's just, I mean, it's madness. But I understand it. I don't have to accept it in my life, but I do understand it. And you know, you learn forgiveness. You know, you are perfect the way you are, really. You know, especially if you know, you're lucky and you have gratitude, 2 arms, 2 eyes, you know, I can talk, you know, I'm not disabled in any way. So it comes with a lot of gratitude. There's nothing really that I'm aching to play. Richard III, possibly. It's a great character, it's a great role, and a great play. It would have to be done properly though. There's been so many iconic Richard III's that it would have to be a really interesting production to do, but I'd like to have a look at him. But then a lot of parts I play are similar to him in a way. I mean, they're not all psychopaths, thank God. Some of them are. Oh, I do like a good psychopath. I think just things that surprise me, I think I'm still interested in, and I don't think I'll ever stop, you know, loving being in stories. These things should be taught about in schools and things, you know, what to expect, what could happen, what is real, what isn't real. I think, you know, school syllabus should be teaching to all those sorts of things, you know, identity, gender identity, orientation, you know, identifying as male or female, gay or straight or non-binary or trans, you know. I think these are the things that should be taught in schools so that young people are growing up well adjusted. You know, there should be classes on social media and how it isn't real, you know. All these things, I guess, hopefully, as we're progressing as a society, you know, will start to be looked at, and good parenting, all of that. It's like anybody, you know, if you go looking for something, you're going to find it, you know. If you go looking through your ex-partner's phone, or you're going to find something. The trick is don't look. You don't need to. But all of a sudden with, you know, actors, it's like this big thing, and oh, he said that, but he threw the phone. Were you there in the room when he threw the phone? No, but we heard about it. Who told you? Oh, a source. I hate that. A source close said. That's a load of rubbish as well. Which source? HP, ketchup. Who was it? Salad cream? No, but seriously, do you know what I mean? A source close said. I'd love the source to come forward and say, actually, I didn't say that. It was Salad Cream who said that. You know, I'm not the source, you know, I'm the pickle. Do you know what I mean? Happiness, I think, to stay happy. And it's tough out there, you know, it can be tough to keep going. Don't give up. Train if you can, get yourself to drama school, and pursue it if it's your passion, it's more vocation, isn't it? It's a calling. You know when you find what you want to do. I was really lucky. I knew what I wanted to do very early on, and I got support. And you know, if you are unhappy in your life, you can't change it. Everything is fixable. Everything. And yeah, to keep going. To find love, of course. I think every man wants to be loved. I think everybody wants to be loved. I think anybody who says, oh no, I really don't want to be loved. No, I don't want a relationship. I don't want to be loved in my work. I don't want to be loved by my family. No, I don't want love. I don't want to be loved by my pet, my animals. I mean, the person's either a psychopath or they're lying, surely. I don't want love. Everybody wants love. Everybody needs love. We all need each other. You know, and love comes in many ways. It doesn't have to be sexual, you know. It's good when the two things come together. You know, that's quite a nice thing. I have been in love, I'm lucky. I was in love, yeah, for 9 years. So I have tasted it. Yeah. You know, that can only happen when one knows oneself. If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I have an amen in here? It is true.
You're so talented.